From the creators of 40 Days of Past Lives and Karma and 40 Days of Self-Love comes the class you've been waiting for, an introduction to Step Astrology. That's right, I'm sharing some of my inside secrets on how to read a chart according to Step Astrology and help you interpret the stars, whether it's for yourself or for clients. Keep a lookout for us coming soon. Humans are about to emotionally grow up. Literally, Jupiter has entered into Cancer for the first time in 12 years. That's a once every 12-year investment. No wonder we're having problems with our feelings. It's time to build, I believe, high vibe, new dimensional ways of emotionally nurturing ourselves. Another headline we'll talk about this week is, we are feeling less guilt and less remorse than ever before. Have you noticed how you just don't give a shit about the old stuff anymore? How you just don't care or worry about certain things? That is the proof right there. The puddles are drying up, which means this sun in Cancer is going to be a compelling one this year. And it's time to use the force, my friend. Time to use it. Neptune will station retrograde. That means the universe is saying, you're on your own, kid. Make sure you practice what we taught you. Now, if you're watching tonight on YouTube, our flagship show, please be kind and do subscribe. Hit the bell so you're notified. And if you don't mind, please like this video so the algorithm will help us be introduced to other people. If you're watching on any of our other social media affiliate stations, please leave a comment. Interaction is the key to action in this world. And our gratitude to yours. Thank you for spreading the world on social media. We thank you for being there for us and echoing our sentiment. And with that, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. Today's zodiac weather runs from Saturday, June 28th to Friday, July 4th, 2025. This week's zodiac weather is sponsored by Salute Sante. Founded by Valentine and Nanette Humer, Salute Sante is the industry leader in the creation and distribution of the healthiest of oils, grapeseed. Providing a healthy alternative to all other oils, Salute Sante proves that food prepared in this pure, delicate oil can taste great and be good for you too. Looking to the weekend, the Serious Joy Zodiac Weather Report says this weekend we wrap up the first decan of Cancer, steps 7 and 8, committing to a new way of caring for oneself so one can feel better every day. Let's drill down. On Saturday, we predict partly sunny and realizing for the collective conscious. Realizing due to step 7 ruling the day, our intuition or Neptune energy, the I sense state of awareness. Our hearts and feelings are logged into this sensory perception. And the moon is in Leo, which ties into our heart, so we are very tuned in through heart and intuition. I feel what I become is the mantra of the day. And at 7:58 a.m. as the day started, Mercury in Leo trine Neptune, bringing a lot of inspiration through thoughts and feelings and imagination. On Sunday, it's sunny and amped. Step 8 is the opposite of Cancer and means that Saturn rules the day. You're deciding how you're feeling, and you're deciding how you will feel next. It's also a commitment to a particular type of care that brings you into that place. The moon begins in Leo with your heart and lots of dreams and shifts into Virgo later on in the day, making things detail. It's all the devil in the detail. I feel closure is our feelings for this day because you are leaving behind an old way of being or feeling every day. And with Mercury opposing Pluto, Mercury may realize that with your mind thinking about self-love, it's easy to know and believe in you. With your mind not thinking about self-love, it's not. Over the arc of the 5-day weekday ahead, it looks as though we start off with a bang, step 9, go through some trials and tribulations, step 11, open up new ways at step 12, and then on July 4th, Independence Day. Let's get closer. On Monday, it's sunny and humid. Step 9 means that Mars rules the day. The we-go is in charge, and with the moon in Virgo, you may be a little detail-oriented and might be frustrating. You'll be growing out of your old skin on Monday, and so you will feel uncomfortable, floating between emotional freedoms between the two worlds. On Tuesday, it's sunny and self-caring. Step 10 means that Earth rules the day. You are materializing your plans and what you're visualizing. The moon starts in Virgo, so you're very, very complex and feeling all sorts of ways, and then simplifies in Libra, feeling if you're in balance with yourself or not. Caution to drop your boundaries. On Wednesday, it's sunny and protecting. Step 11 indicates that Chiron rules the day, so it's a natural healing day if you love yourself and love yourself some more. The I feel statement, I feel self-love. And concentration will maintain your emotional balance today, especially with the moon in Libra smoothing things out. On Thursday, it's cloudy and de-escalating. Step 12 means Jupiter rules the day, Jupiter in Cancer that is, so you are feeling curious. and coping through emotional rites of passage. The moon in the high degrees of Libra does call for relationships to change and the beginning of a new future when relationships go smooth. And then on Friday, it's cloudy and discharging. Step 13 means that Uranus rules the day. And by the way, happy step birthday to the United States of America. What you're feeling today is electric and removing emotional static cling. Apparently, it started clinging around 8:45 a.m. when Venus conjoined Uranus at the base of the day. Then Venus changes tune and goes into Gemini at around 11:30 a.m. And then at 5:32 p.m. Eastern, Neptune stations retrograde at 2 Aries. What a fireworks finale! This week's sponsor is Be a Helping Hand. With over 30 years of experience in construction and community development, Mark Wright, one of our presenters at Unite the Light, is a leading voice in purpose-driven urban revitalization. As executive director of Be a Helping Hand Foundation, he secured over $30 million in financing for affordable housing in Nashville alone. Learn more about his foundation at beahelpinghand.org.
My name is Mark Wright. I'm an architecture engineer. I run a nonprofit. It's a housing development organization. So I'm a developer. I also have a document management company, engineering. So I would say my light work is really with my nonprofit, where I provide affordable housing for people that's underdeserved, those with disabilities, victims of homeless, victims of domestic violence.
This week, the sun goes from step 7 Cancer to step 13 Cancer. That means our heart, which is the sun, is investing in how we feel on the inside. How we feel on the inside for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and some of Tuesday, I would say. So it's all about our inner life. That means that no matter what happens in the outer world, respond inward. So if you see something you don't like or don't feel, do something inward for yourself. Inward means you need no arms and no legs to do it. It means it can happen just in your consciousness. And so just within your consciousness, whether it's your thoughts or your judgment or anything else, respond to yourself like the way you wish you were treated in your family. And maybe you were treated great in your family. I would still take it higher. Now, Jupiter goes to step 4 to step 5 Cancer. That's pretty pronounced. That means that we are learning from this episode alone that I'm now broadcasting, we are learning that there's a better way to respond to ourselves on the inside. And by taking that path, we find that we have better results. We feel better. In fact, it really can't be sold to you. You got to try it. Jupiter does say that everyone on the planet is being instructed that they could take another position with themselves than the one they've been taking. And Jupiter at 5 will then help you to expand your thinking to support that. So for instance, if your inner response is contrarian, right? You say something nice about yourself, and then right inside it's like, oh, don't let that get to your head. That'd be contrarian. Well, that approach is a critical approach. That approach is a cold approach. It's obviously not paying attention to feelings. It's not paying attention to the consequences of that response. So replace that contrary with something positive and find a new way to say to yourself, which is like, yes, and we can do, and we're going to keep doing better every day. You know, loving, supportive inner worth. So with Jupiter and the sun, both in these degrees, the sun hits step 13 by the end of this week period, this report period, which is next Friday. On that time, step 13, which by the way, is a revolutionary degree, this is where you might see a lot of emotional change and activity. So if you feel things bubbling up in your friends and family, most likely going to apex Friday to Saturday morning. And so, you know, because it's Cancer and they'll be moody, you want to put your boundaries in place to make sure, you know, things don't overflow. Now in Taurus, we still have some stabilizing going on. Venus is in Taurus from step 22 to step 29. That means that you're going to get comfortable. You're going to open up and take into your heart the possibility that you will manifest absolutely everything you intend. In fact, at Serious Joy, we're now using the word I materialize, replacing I manifest with I materialize. It's a better description on our opinion, but that's another example of Venus right there at 22. Let's just change the dimension in which we manifest big things. Those degrees between 22 and 29 are our capability of making something that the world's never seen before. It's also about wealth and the path to wealth, not just wealth itself and selling these things, but the concept of should it be sales, or should it be rentals, or should it be that sort of thing. So you literally consider the very premise of economies when Venus is in the high degree. So stay open, and I would say you don't have to decide anything, but let everything stay on the table that comes through the door. It's not an accident. Now, at the same time, Uranus is at step 29 Taurus, pushing the envelope of what's even possible. That vortex is pretty intense. That Uranus at 29, I would say, could trigger earthquakes, volcanic activity, etc. on the Earth. It's just so intense, so high vibe. It's literally like a portal opening up to all other dimensions, and that is connecting to Taurus. So that means that you could say Mother Earth is downloading some high genius potential for technology, high genius potential for, what do you say, marvels of engineering. That sort of thing is coming in the door. And what it means is people are being inspired. One of the things I have felt is Uranus at this degree. I have had in the last week more good ideas I've had in an entire 2 years. Just profound, amazing. Like, I cannot believe I never thought of that. Well, my head was down. I was in my emotions. I was going through the process of essentially like all of us. So I wasn't really feeling it. But I actually think Uranus has given me access to things that are blowing my mind. Or it's like I need 10 minutes to sit down and think about that and the consequences of what I just came up with or what I just caught there in space. So, the thing is with Uranus 29, you got to keep the engine cool. Just keep responding to your feelings. Keep yourself calm. And that vortex will stay open. Now in Aries, the can-do energy, we've got a lot of can-do and must-do happening right now. Of course, I talked about this already. Saturn and Neptune, both at primary degrees. Saturn is the inner child. Saturn is also the disciplinarian. So basically, your disciplinarian energy is around your inner child. The question is, are you embracing your inner child and saying, hey man, here's the adult version of me, come back for you. So either your adult version of you goes back to rescue the inner child, and that means take onto yourself the responsibility of giving the inner child everything he or she wants. Then that will probably be the contrarian. That Saturn will be bitter. Your inner child will be bitter because you've never been invested in. And you could do the dark side of this and just be a bitter bitch to yourself, a bitter, Saturn, disciplinarian, and make things get worse and worse and worse. Free will allows you to go either direction. But there's a good news on this, is that's Neptune. Neptune at 2 degrees Aries means that you actually have access, psychic access, through your feelings, to every person you've ever been in every lifetime. It's sort of like in the game, which is what I think reality is. In this game, every now and then you can get access to all your past players and all your past games. And Neptune 2 is basically doing that. So the point is like, if your inner critic is being mean on you, you'll feel all the times in past lives that you've been mean to yourself. If your critic is happy and supportive, you'll feel all the times that you were happy and supportive. By bringing all those together, I think you're creating a multidimensional foundation for, the future of reality, which we won't talk about now. But what it really means is that you feel it hurts. If you become critical to yourself, if you're hard on yourself, you'll feel it hurts. If you feel it hurts, stop. Okay? And that will keep you from making mistakes. Chiron at 26 means that over the course of this week, we are healing our capacity to reinvent ourselves, reinvent our character, and become a new character, and that be okay. Now, looking at the moon and the emotions of the week, we talked about the arc of many. The moon starts in Leo on Saturday, so you'll be feeling very self-loving on Saturday and Sunday. It's a good sunny weekend to be creative, let your inner child play, and see whether or not that inner critic comes out. The moon then shifts into Virgo on Sunday, so at some point the party stops and you realize you've got to clean the house. Then Monday, it's about details. The moon will be in Virgo as well, so you'll be hyper aware of all the details and things that have to be done. Probably hypersensitive. Don't forget we're in Cancer, so we're probably taking things a little bit too seriously that so-and-so is late or so-and-so didn't turn in their report or that sort of thing. Especially Monday, I would say, if you have a problem with an employee or someone, wait till Tuesday to talk to them. On Tuesday, of course, the moon starts in Virgo, but the high degree, so we're feeling our lives coming together. We're feeling everything not falling apart as we just felt like 2 days ago it was. So you're feeling things come together. By the end of the day, the moon moves into Libra, and that means that we start to seek balance and harmony. If you have relationship issues with anyone right now, I would say those issues start to apex Tuesday night after both parties have been very clear on who they are and now they want to talk about it. So we move into hump day on Wednesday. Things are nice and peachy with everything in Libra, and then still going into Friday, the moon continues as well into Libra, but draws to a Scorpio line at the end. So looking at the emotional arc of this, we sort of fall in love with an idea at the beginning on the weekend. We play those details out of that idea in Virgo. Then we sort of see if this is going to work with us or relationships. And by Friday night, the next time I'm on the air, boom, we draw the emotional line. So there's an emotional transformation, I believe, that happens this week. Adding to the fire, we have Leo. The mind, Mercury, is in Leo, moves from step 1 to step 8. So you are reminded this week as to whether or not you love yourself or don't love yourself, or whether or not your mind loves yourself. Does your mind put yourself first? Does your mind put your inner child first? That plays out with Mercury. Now, remember, if your mind isn't, correct it. Make sure it knows who works for you. And you are the queen or the king, which is the heart and the love. In Virgo, the critical energy, Mars is there, cleaning up house. Mars goes from step 6 to step 9. That means you will have the energy and motivation to turn it around in yourself. You will have it. It'll be impossible for you not to see the things that need to be cleaned or things that need to be fixed. So Your ego, make sure it doesn't get triggered by these things. It will all come in due time. Tell your ego that it'll all come in due time. But you have the energy to sort of scrub the rugs and clean the house, right? Now, I'm not making it as a cliche, Virgo. I really, honestly, during Virgo, want to clean. Like, I can see why Virgos are the way they are. But the South Node is at 21 degrees Virgo. And that means that as you move to clean and organize the new you, organize a new life, this new way of being, you're letting go of an old philosophy. So you might, pay attention this week to see, well, what philosophy am I letting go of? I used to have the philosophy of, if this, then that. Now, after some life, I realize it's that, then this. Being mindful of what philosophies are now no longer applicable will allow you to reconstruct your personal Akashic record and also accumulate your new beliefs about where you're going. So my point is, if the book doesn't apply, throw it out or donate it to Goodwill, basically. Now, a couple more signs, and we're almost done here. Very important, though. There is some ruckus going on with Black Moon Lilith. She goes from step 10 to step 11 Scorpio this week. That means that your haunts will focus from being enough, self-worth, to integrity. So this is sort of the part of yourself that can kind of come out whining. And because it's Cancer, it will whine, okay? Black Moon Lilith is going to be very whiny and very bitchy this month, and this fact that it's our, unfulfilled feelings that need attention. But the topics may be that, you're not enough, you're not worthy, or there's something wrong with you. And the thing is, it's not that something's wrong with you. It's that when this question comes up, you stop. And that's the issue. You must respond differently to know, and what you feel is true, that you feel nothing's wrong with you. So therefore, you're the source of your truth instead of someone else. That couldn't be more better expressed than when we talk about Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius at 3 degrees is now retrograde. That means you must believe in yourself. You must hold that vibration, stand tall, be proud, and not allow you or anyone else to get in the way. You is the biggest one. Usually we are our worst enemy. We are the ones that pick us apart. We are the ones that second guess. And so now with Pluto retrograde, you must just assume you believe in yourself and not question it. And the way I do it is I put up a boundary. I say to myself, okay, I'm going to believe in myself. And everyone thinks if anyone comes up to me and says, you're full of it, who they think are you, and that kind of thing. During that period, I'll just say to myself, I'm not going to let it get to me because I'm in this retrograde Pluto 3. So, sorry, can't hear you. Sorry, la la la, cannot hear you because I believe myself by default. That's necessary for all the rest of this part of you to change, especially the final part I want to talk about, which is the North Node in Pisces. The North Node in Pisces is at 21, just like the South Node is at 21 Virgo. This means that as you're letting go of antiquated beliefs, right, such as the 5-level food system in the United States, that's an antiquated belief, the food pyramid. These kind of antiquated beliefs, if you let them go, it's because you're opening up to new spiritual beliefs, what you feel in your heart is true now. And you might ask, well, if it wasn't true then, how can it be true now? Because truth, my friend, is based on what you feel in your heart. That's what's true to you. It's what you want to truly paint and what you want to truly do and create in this life. And so the overall arc here is believe in yourself and don't argue about it. Let go of the beliefs you no longer believe in. Just let them go out the door and embrace the beliefs you do believe in. Protect them and follow them. All right. It's time now for your story and what you're believing. When we come back, we'll have your soul horoscope. And we're back here for our Soul Horoscope edition. This is the part where we talk about you and what's motivating you in these energies and currents of consciousness. Remember, the whole game and how to win it is to master yourself. The better you know yourself, the better you know how to respond to yourself, the better you will play. And you'll also attract better players, which will lead to better situations, etc. It's all about how you play in the moment. It's the ability to respond correctly. And if you need a model or role model, think of an actor or an actress. They may come on the set feeling really crappy. Maybe they had a hard night. But they have to step into a new emotional frequency and broadcast that, or what I call lightcast that, through the length of the whole film or the scene or whatnot. So we're doing the same thing. What we're learning is that what we lightcast is what comes. And so Cancer is a way to massage your way into that spectrum. Now that said, this week I'll talk about for all the 12 signs what the Sun in Cancer means for you, which means where you are manifesting with Capricorn and the Earth, and maybe some tips on how to respond to your feelings. Well, let's talk about Venus and Gemini, what that means, especially with Jupiter having left Venus and Gemini, and what you should open up to. There are no bad ideas, so let them all come on the table so you're creatively open. And then lastly, the Neptune retrograde. Neptune stations retrograde this week. That means you're on your own, kid. That means your intuition will not come and interrupt you. That means it's sort of like having the notifications off on your phone. Things are happening, but you've got to ask or you won't find out. So let's start, of course, with our trailblazers of the Zodiac, the Aries. Aries, you are working on emotional home and family situation. You are literally giving yourself a new emotional foundation for yourself. In other words, you are creating a home you wish you came for. But it's not just the home you wish you had. It's also the home necessary for you to achieve your goals. I've been watching you, Aries. It's been interesting with Saturn and Pisces and Neptune, and now moving into Aries. I feel that you've been in the clouds for a long time. You're finally coming into a clarity, starting to feel like, what should I do? And the answer is, well, based on what you feel you can do. So if you feel like doing one thing and you want to do another, it's probably your feelings that are in the way. So responding to your own feelings is important this week. Responding to your feelings like a positive parent that loves you, no judgment, compassion, kindness. Use these qualities with your feelings. Be gentle with yourself. Being gentle allows you to be more sensitive and tuned into others. By the end of the week, when we hit step 13, you will feel that you deserve a better foundation somehow. Somehow there needs to be an upgrade. So you go from how do I feel to how do I feel now in this world, and starting to map that out. With Venus and Gemini, you are now opening up to the idea that your ideas are correct. You're now hopefully assuming that if it's coming from the heart, all ideas are good and have good direction. You're going to start to open up to a new vocabulary with yourself, a new way of thinking about yourself, and that will plant the seeds for creating something in your mind. So really feeling that creativity. By the way, when Uranus hits this energy, you're going to, like a racehorse, you're going to go off chasing an idea. So I would give openness to all ideas. Don't allow any idea to be dismissed by yourself. Put it on the table. It'll be obvious over time which work and which don't. And if you want a little game, use different words for what you mean this week. Try something different than you normally say. Neptune retrograde means that the universe has now whispered in your ear just how cool you are and what your capabilities are. I think you have felt what holds you back. You have felt and sensed what you must do. It does not mean that you have done it. So with Neptune retrograde, it means you must check your intuition and check in on yourself and intuit in yourself if anything is wrong. In other words, before you cross the street, tap into your intuition and make sure you've checked both sides. Make sure there's no traffic, make sure you're safe, and make sure you feel that everything is okay. Only respond to yourself from that intuitive feeling. Don't respond to yourself if you haven't asked your intuition what's going on, because your old patterns are being worked out of you. And they're being worked out of you simply by the way you respond to yourself. So responding to yourself and your emotions makes you stronger in the world. Even if you feel weak for that moment, you'll feel stronger in the long run. All right. Taurus. Oh, Taurus, I'm having a blast. Are you? We are now in the Cancer transit focusing on how our mind and feelings co-conspire. We always take a look at two states of awareness. Taurus is step 10, the 1 and the 0. And so you always have to look at two. In your case, you look at your feelings for two things. You look at your feelings for what you think about something, and then you look at your feelings of how you are. So your security is based on your feelings, and of course, your ability to come up with cool ideas is based on your feelings. Therefore, you must be mindful of how you respond and take your feelings in consideration whenever you respond to yourself. In regard to whatever attitude you take about life, you must be mindful and conscious of how you feel. Because how you feel may, dirty that water. It may send a message to someone you didn't intend to send. I do that all the time, where people feel like I'm mad at them and I'm mad at me. And secondly, you need your feelings to help you guide your thoughts so they not only are constructive, but persuasive. Tauruses are very persuasive with their talk and interaction because there's so much feeling behind their words. They feel everything they say. So a cleaning out of how you talk to yourself, realizing that you can poison yourself, you can bring yourself down as fast as you can bring yourself up if you're just mindful of your feelings and you work with both your feelings and your thoughts when you're thinking about yourself. Now, this will all scale up to, with the Earth in Capricorn, new commitments to what you believe about yourself and don't. So by giving yourself this freedom to go back and forth what you think and feel, you end up manifesting or materializing a new expression of yourself or a new belief in yourself. So having problems believing, probably because your feelings or your mind are working against you. Now, with Venus and Gemini, it does mean it's time to open up and get ready to accept. You've gone through a huge year of expanding your self-worth, your soul capital. You've laid down probably pipelines to make money. Now it's time to allow it to come in. And this is a part that Tauruses are not so good about. So open up to every idea, open up and accept people's words about you, their criticism of you, their ideas for you. Just accept it all. Because if you don't accept someone's criticism, you won't accept the check either. And then Neptune retrograde means, hey, now it's up to you, kid. Listen to your intuition before you make any major moves, Taurus, when it comes to the outer world. If you're going to change your brand, you're going to reinvent yourself. If you're going to like move in a different direction as far as what you feel like you can do to help society, check your intuition. Do not do without checking your intuition. And also realize that you must be faithful and you must feel that you have faith on your own. Make sure and protect that you have faith before you make any adjustments to anything. All right. Gemini. Gemini, you are focusing on abundance, money, manifestation. Did you know that how you feel determines what you get paid? And that Geminis don't usually like to think about their feelings. Therefore, they don't usually have control over what they make. So Geminis are the one person that I find quite often, they just take the job for whatever it's worth. They just take it, no negotiation. They don't say they're worth more. They don't say they deserve the raise. They just wait to see what happens. That's because your feelings don't feel like they're well tended to by you either. Where you're emotionally maturing is the fact that you have to feel good to make good money. You have to feel good to do things. You have to feel good to be confident and have the courage to try and to invest. And so your mind ought to partition a part of itself to just focus on how you feel all the time. You need an emotional thermometer, frankly. You need to know what is your thermometer now, how hot are the feelings, and what are they, persuaded to. And you need to understand that, you're not going to have the confidence for anything or come up with the money or find the job if you don't feel good. So you're learning the power of emotion and self-worth. You're learning the power of how it leads to things to go well or things to have problems. You literally are a person that if you feel bad, the lawnmower will break down. So be conscious of that. Now, Venus in your sign does mean it's time to reinvent yourself with words. And that is it, with words. So this week, I challenge you to use new words to describe yourself. You may not use words you've used before. You must use these words to encompass your growth and see how many titles and keywords you have for your character and who you're known for. Now, this begins first and foremost with a new way of thinking. Open up to a new way of thinking about how you respond to yourself. Open up to a new way of thinking about how you talk to yourself. Open up to a new way of thinking about what motivates yourself and gets you to get off the couch and do something. Those words, those expressions are what comes first with Venus. And then Neptune retrograde means that the universe is no longer going to be guiding you. You have to ask in order to get answers when it comes to ultimately your place in society. Who you belong and who you don't belong being. What you affiliate with and what you don't affiliate with. This is something where you've been given little hints in the last few weeks with Neptune and Aries. You've been given a lot of intuition about where to go and not go socially. But now, whatever you think is important, you must maintain. So protect your belief in yourself. Protect how you feel about yourself in society. Don't let society affect how you feel. You be the one to honor the truths about how you feel about yourself in society. And you'll find that as a result, your social ambition will skyrocket if you feel good and not do so well. So if the crowd likes you or not, it's really about how you feel. It's not about the crowd. Cancers! Happy birthday, Cancers. Emotion for you, it determines how you respond to yourself, and how you respond to yourself turns into your emotion. Did you know you're playing emotional ping pong with yourself? In fact, every time you feel a certain way, you ping pong back to yourself a certain way. And that determines what gets served to you the next. So you are back and forth with your feelings all the time. And so this now with the sun in the space of Cancer means it's time to be very nurturing, compassionate, to be aware of how you feel before you do anything for yourself. If you know you feel bad, well, then make sure what you do for yourself cares for feeling bad and what it is you want to achieve out of yourself. So I think Cancers are realizing that impulse to go take care of that person in the room, that impulse to save that person on the street, that impulse to help everyone else, that's because you were itching for care yourself. And you saw and projected your need onto those people. This is why you've been lost and unsupported. And many Cancers say to me, why can't I find someone that will support me like I support them? It's this reason why here. When you have an emotional need, your first instinct is to go give it to someone else as a gift. And that's an ego-based intention, by the way. The reason why you're going over there is to look good. It's to be a good person. It's to be good with God. It's not because you really care that much. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying, care for yourself. Try now responding to your needs and then go help the homeless person. Just put yourself first and see what happens. I predict it will be dramatic, frankly. And I think you're going to find how difficult of a client you are to work with. Because when you do give yourself that heave-ho positive, I bet another part of yourself still comes in and tries to kill that too. So watch the contrarian. Watch what closes down. Watch what you keep pinching all the time in yourself. Now, Venus in Gemini does mean you're about to get extremely clear psychically. You're going to find that your intuition, your ability to connect to spirit, your ability to identify voices and separate voices, and to also comprehend the greater depth of things is all going to increase. In fact, you're going to have Uranus come into space soon, which means you're going to be, wherever you are now, Cancer, as far as psychic ability, it's going to probably at least double in that period of Uranus in Gemini. So be mindful of the thoughts you have faith in. Be mindful of the thoughts you don't have faith in. That's how this transit begins today. Now, Neptune retrograde does mean that you are going to be no longer, how do I put this? You must protect your intuitive decisions for what to do. If you intuitively decided what to do, which was to move to another state, don't let yourself pull that apart now. Make sure you listen and see if that voice changes, but you must stay in contact with the intuitive part of yourself that knows what to do and the intuitive part of yourself that makes decisions. Do not, at this point, make a decision without your intuition weighing in. All right. Leos. Oh, Leo, this is my least favorite transit. I'm with you. It is the annual spirituality transit for you and how you connect to the other side. Now, you use your feelings to connect to the other side. You use an emotional membrane to God universe. This is both positive, but it also comes with its challenges. Up until now, you may not have been aware of your own feelings, your own disruption, your own past lives and issues. And so, when you've connected to spirit, it's been blocked or it's been diffused or it's been distorted by your own emotional junk. Depending on how long you've been working on yourself will determine how clear that is. And I believe that looking at the big chart of Leo, with all the hard changes you made with boundaries and where you draw the line with yourself, that you now have the capacity to separate your feelings. And you, this year in Sun and Cancer, I think will become extremely close to God's spirit, emotionally close to your guides, to the people who want to help you in the company of heaven. So you are clearing now in this first decade how you feel about yourself, self-judgment, feelings that make you feel not so great. And when they're finally clear, you'll then move from there to a higher ground emotionally, psychically, and connecting to the other side in powerful ways. This may be your first contact, by the way, Leo, with another entity on the other side. You were set up for that. Now, with Venus in Gemini, it's time to open up to your social ambitions. Open up and accept all the ideas that you have for yourself in the world. Open up and accept the ideas that people have for you as well. I know you don't like it, but go ahead and open up to those comments on YouTube. Open up to that criticism and just take it to heart. Your heart will tell you if it's true or not true. And if you're angry, that means it's true. And so that means that someone has communicated to you something that your heart doesn't even want to see or be like. So the key is to be open. Be open to all those things and those messages. And by the end of this transit, we'll understand and you'll have to open up to your actual ambition and your actual legacy. Now, Uranus is moving into this space. That means you are going to make the race that you were looking at. So try not to get in arguments when these words come and these titles come and these, this criticism comes from the crowd. Because it's actually all necessary to orientate yourself to get what you want. Uranus will ensure that you do. You just want to make sure that you're in your right mind, so to speak. So stay open to all possibilities with you in society. That said, life purpose and mastery is what you must now pay attention to with your intuition. Neptune in Aries has helped you to open up to your real purpose, being to serve yourself, Aries, to be there for you, Aries. The Aries energy is there to make you go become what you're meant to be. The great thing you think you were meant to be may be. However, to get there, you must now believe in yourself like no other. So you must be the kingdom of belief. You must be the queendom of belief. Neptune has opened this up and introduced this to you, but you must now stay in touch with that part of yourself you've been introduced to. Stay in touch with the feeling of believing in yourself. Stay in touch with the feeling of having confidence. It's the memory of the feeling that brings it all up. The thought or the idea alone may leave you hanging. So Leos, when you look at all of it, you're getting closer to God. You are getting closer to society, and you're getting closer to yourself. What can go wrong? I'd say not much. Virgos. Virgo, with the sun in Cancer, it's now time to examine all of your feelings about who you are in the world. And this is complicated, and this is where Virgos get very upset and frustrated because you pick up a plethora of feelings in the world, and just because a person feels a certain way doesn't mean that's who they are, doesn't mean that's who they're going to stick with. And it doesn't mean that that motion and that moment wasn't just for you, to give you a little nudge to make changes of yourself. You see in the world reflections of your feelings. So if the world to you is chaos, your feelings are chaos. If the world to you is cold and uncaring, you're cold and uncaring to yourself. If you feel the world is overly dramatic, you're overly dramatic. So let's end the shenanigans, shall we? What you feel, the judgment you feel from society, is all you, basically, projecting your Virgo energy into an image of yourself and drawing in the people. Therefore, all you have to do to get what you want out of the world is to emotionally nurture yourself differently. That's the magic. It's not what they say to you when you're on stage, it's what you say to yourself immediately after. It's not how they made you feel, it's how you make yourself feel immediately after. It's your emotional response to yourself that determines your production and your productivity in the world. So the better you treat yourself emotionally, I'm talking about manicures and pedicures, I'm talking about emotionally on the inside where no one else can see, the more you'll be treated in the outer world by society. Give it a try, see if it works. Now that said, Venus in Gemini means it's now time to go ahead and open up now to all the ideas you have about the future. You're now ready to examine all the ideas, especially once you've neutralized your feelings about judgment in society. Once that's neutralized, now you can look at your future with some real clarity. I would encourage you to stay open to all possibilities. No matter how concluded you are, no matter how much research you have, no matter how much, data you've got packed away, so far it's not enough, is it? Because you're not where you want to be. So there's something you're missing. There's something you're not opening to. There's ideas you're not considering. And, I fully believe that if you do not consider an idea that comes to you through a friend or anything else, you're being rude. You're being rude and you're missing out on some good data there. So be open. Now, Neptune retrograde in Aries does mean that you will have to intuitively check your feelings to know if you trust or not trust. If you don't use your intuition to scan your feelings, you may go quickly down a spiral rabbit hole where you feel unsafe and you start to act out or, push away or run, right? And so that is due to the fact that you weren't intuitively looking at or sensing if you felt safe or not. So keep a psychic eye on your feelings of safety and trust at all times right now. Libras. Libra, you are now looking and feeling differently about leadership, about where you feel you're going to go next, about where you feel you can be useful. Now, you must know that a lot of your calling to different places on Earth was really you chasing after your own shadow. The areas where you were not controlling, where you were not overly controlling, allowed feelings to go different directions. And so you've gone directions really based on how you feel, not based on the logic and reason you think you are using. And I don't mean as disrespect, I mean as respect. It's now time to kind of inside out that. You need to realize that if you're not committed to feeling good, you're not going to see what decision to make. You're not going to know which way to go. They argue and make jokes about how Libras go back and forth and never make decisions. It's true. It's because they have Capricorn in the fourth house. They've shut down their feelings. It's your feelings that would weigh in. The idea that a judge does not use their feelings to make a judgment, I think it's us kidding ourselves as human beings. How is that even possible? How can you really cut off of your emotional self to know and make the right decision? And why does decisions make a decision wrong? Why does that emotions make a decision wrong? Why is the court system based on that? That has to be cold. Well, it's because they've seen people misuse their feelings in the past. It's because they've seen judges like Libras who were emotionally not taking care of themselves, and then they were projecting their feelings into the case. And ironically, that's what you must do. You must care for yourself. You must nurture yourself in the most amazing way. And only from that place of feeling grounded and cared for will you make the right decision. Otherwise, you tend to make decisions to correct the feelings. You're kind of going around nurturing and trying to find other ways like success or outer achievement to pay for the feelings or to make yourself feel good. That day is over. Now you must feel good before you even choose. If you implement that, it will make Venus in Gemini a lot easier. Venus in Gemini means that now it's time to open up to everything you might believe now that you are feeling more grounded. So, when you feel grounded, you may believe a lot more than you normally do. Your mind, again, is dismissing things because you're not well nurtured to begin with. You're going into the examination a little hyper, a little worried, a little lacking somewhere. And so you're skewing your ability to really believe in yourself and to believe in the ideas that you have. If you're well-founded emotionally, if you're well cared for emotionally, now you can open up to all sorts of different thoughts and ideas. And I got to tell you, Libra, you're a little conservative. It'd be good to open up to some other thoughts or ideas. The world is changing. Open up, see how it feels. You'd be surprised. You could say to yourself, buying clothes. Oh, you never see me caught dead in that. Well, try it. Try it on. Go in the dressing room. Whoa, I had no idea. Exactly. You had no idea. And lastly, it's important to know that when it comes to marriage and partnership and how you feel about you, make sure you continually check to tune in. Neptune retrograde means that you will no longer get little birds whispering in your ears to be nice to yourself. You have to check in with your intuition and get the reminder on your own. So the universe is forcing you to stay intuitively connected to yourself. All right. A little soda. Scorpios. Scorpios! Scorpio, you are changing how you feel about your life's purpose and what you're here to do. And, I think that you are very black and white because you have Capricorn in your house of thinking. And so you're very decisive and controlling in your thoughts. But you don't realize that what you believe in comes down to your feelings, not your thoughts. It doesn't matter how disciplined you are and how you can just shut something out of your mind and not consider it at all. It has nothing to do with believing in anything. In fact, to believe in something, it's going to have to feel past one thought. It's going to have to feel past one idea. And so I feel that you have tendency to try to have your mind take over what you believe and deduct it scientifically and deduct it from the perspective of an outside auditor, an outside critic. And if it looked good, you would go ahead and claim it and say, yes, I believe this. It looks like it has the data. It looks like it has, what I'm looking for. But you were lying to yourself. What you're looking for is it felt good. The direction you go is because it feels good to go that direction, because it feels good. You feel good about being a this or a that. You feel good about educating yourself here or there. That's why you believe in it, because it feels right. It's not because of anything you've thought or any data you have. It's based on how you feel right. If you're presented with the wrong data, you won't sit there and say, that's right because of the data. You'll realize right away something's wrong with that data. You'll blame the data. Something must be wrong because that's how I feel. That's because you are actually using your feelings to determine what you believe in. So once you believe in yourself and you feel that belief in yourself, once you believe you will find the answer if you don't have the answer, and you feel that you will find the answer if you don't have the answer, now nothing is impossible. Now you can absorb all the complexities of what your beliefs are because you're considering all the feelings as relevant information, relevant, credible data to come up with that conclusion. So let your feelings tell you what you believe. Don't go shopping in your mind or some app store for what you believe in. Now that said, with Venus in Gemini, if you do that, then you can really relax and change some things in a big way. I'm talking about putting the kitchen next to the bedroom, that sort of rearrangement of the house, rearrangement of your boundaries, looking at your life from a perspective of enjoyment and trust and safety. A lot of your mind and your boundaries have been corrupted by the fact that you didn't feel you believed in it, so you couldn't back it up with actual ideas or boundaries. So you've been somewhat cold when it comes to boundaries, and that's mostly because your mind was sitting in a bath of ice. You weren't giving your mind freedom and the ability to be anything. You're trying to lock it down so you can feel like you can believe in yourself. Those days are over though, Scorpio, and now it's time to open up to all ideas. Try anything, and I like to say try anything twice. Now, the last thing I'll say is that Neptune in Pisces retrograding means that when it comes to your daily life and your health, you must check in. You must take the time and space to check in. You will not get an award. You'll not get an alert. Your body will just crash and out of nowhere. And if it happens like that, it crashes out of nowhere, it's because you weren't listening intuitively to what your body was telling you. Listen to your body and its language. All right. Sagittarius. Sagittarius says your emotions involve boundaries. In fact, I know a lot of Sagittarius who are kind of private about who they sleep with and who they connect with, because it's not according to any rules that you'll see out in the world. To be with a pirate or not be a pirate, to date a guy with a motorcycle or not. That's not how it happens for a Sag. And this is how a Sag can go around the world and just about make love to any culture, because they feel it or they don't. Now, with that same intuition and feeling, you feel it or you don't, this is how you have to make decisions that are big decisions. Like, should you allow yourself to do this? And should you allow yourself to do that? Right now, you've got a lot of mental chatter going on with that, where, you're really concerned in the background about losing value. So the reason why you don't want anyone to know you did that is because you're afraid it will lose your pocketbook. It'll somehow make your credibility go down. And what you're learning with the Sun in Cancer and the Earth in Capricorn is if you feel good about it, it can make a lot of money. If you don't feel good about it, it's not going to make any money. So you literally are orchestrated to be going with what feels right, investing in what feels right in a very intimate level, very intimately close to yourself or intimately close to your investors. Not literally, but who knows what people's arrangements will be. And from that closeness and feeling of trust, this will allow you to change your hopes and score for what you can manifest. Basically, what the stars are saying is, if you're not getting the money you deserve, it's because you're emotionally not trusting something. And so you're not emotionally opening up to connecting. You're not emotionally opening up to creating. And what you need there are better boundaries. You need there to feel out where the line is and where the line isn't. And that's what the Sun in Cancer is going to do for you. How to change where the lines are, how you feel about trusting yourself, how you feel about trusting everyone else. And again, letting your feelings be the determiner. No facts, nothing to point to outside of yourself, just how you feel. And when I would tell your family and everyone's like, hey, I feel that way and so it is. It doesn't matter. I don't need facts. I don't need a date. I decide that I feel it and that's it, period. Now that proclamation will help you, especially when Venus goes into Gemini, because with Venus now embracing in Gemini, you are now opening up to all sorts of ways of bouncing off of and experiencing relationships. You now can see things differently, and you can accept different ways. And maybe he can call you that on the weekends or something. Your mind was actually very closed about relationships because you want to go a certain way, and you just wouldn't allow yourself to look outside that perspective. But now it's absolutely time to think differently, to talk differently, to have open communication and free communication, and see where it goes. Now that you're well grounded, especially with your feelings, and you feel trust, you can trust what you want to say, and I would trust what you say and exchange it. Lastly, I'll say with Neptune going retrograde, this means that when it comes to being there for your inner child, making sure that at the end of the day she gets what she's wanting and he gets what he's wanting, no matter what, Neptune will no longer alert you when you're falling off the course of being a good parent. And so you can go way off course right now with no warnings and no intuition. I recommend every morning in the vault, you take some space, you check to your inner child, you intuit if that feels right, what your inner child says, and you protect that. You protect that connection, and you protect that spiritual intimacy with your inner self. This will be important, especially if you become an artist of some sort or performer later in your life. Very, very important. Okay. Capricorns, you are making some big emotional changes and growing, maturing when it comes to your feelings about yourself. You have not always been the nicest person to yourself when it comes to the emotions you need. I think Capricorns have always felt like they need someone else to rub their back. They need someone else to feel good. They need a sail to feel better. Those are all outside you. You have everything it takes, and you're a good manager to manage your feelings about yourself. It takes constant. If you've had a baby, okay, if you've had a baby, male or female, you know how much that baby needs you to feel good. Every 2 minutes, like mama, baby, all these things every 20 seconds. You're the same way. You're a baby when it comes to yourself, and you haven't really come up with a good way of always being there and make yourself feel good. So if you feel a little colicky, maybe go on a ride. Feeling kind of this way, go see the dragon toy. Know how to respond to yourself, and you're going to grow out of emotional worry, emotional hangups, and problems with abundance. And a lot of Capricorns are not making the money they want because you're operating with a low wattage of your awareness of your feelings. And you're also having problems in relationships because you are running into those relationships not aware of how you feel, having no plan for how to respond to yourself, having no strategy. And so you just throw it up on your partner. Your partner's the one who had to deal with all this. But I know the universe is not letting that happen anymore. So you want to walk into your relationships, you want to engage in relationships feeling good to begin with and not feeling you need anything from the other person to feel better. That's the maturing you're doing. Now, Venus in Gemini says, hey, when you do that, you're going to see a whole bunch of things in life open up. You don't realize that you are so clouded and don't see things right under your nose because you actually haven't paid attention to the fact that you feel bad. And so you're looking for a distraction to feel better. You're on the look for how to feel better. Feeling better comes to how you treat yourself on the inside. So looking outside to feel better is a waste of time, and it has been. My point is, your resolution of seeing reality truly and clearly has been very low because of all these different things happening, mostly because you're emotionally ignoring yourself and not being for yourself the way you need to be. So that said, it's now time to, in your life, begin to respond to yourself first, be there for yourself, make yourself feel good, and not project that onto other partnerships. Now, that Venus opening up is giving you all the details necessary. Include everything. If they say, hey, have you tried red light therapy? Sure, put it on the table. It's a possibility. Any idea that comes to you, put it on the table, see if it's a possibility. We'll see. You'll know by the time Neptune leaves, the time Venus leaves Gemini, you'll know the right way to go. And then lastly, the Neptune retrograde means that you will no longer have God Universe whispering in how to treat the baby. You've had Neptune right on your inner child, right on your feelings. So again, you need to be the baby monitor that's always checking your emotion. If you're not the baby monitor yourself, you'll find it leads to trouble. You'll see. Aquarius, you are stepping into a secret that you have not really paid attention to. In fact, it's always been an annoyance when it's truly the secret to your power. And that is your emotions in the moment. You plug into reality through emotion. Honestly, it makes total sense. You're this Aquarius energy that can type into all these different vibrations and frequencies and radio stations. Of course, you have to feel it out. You can't think and tit for tat and organize on a chart all those things you're picking up on. You've got to go with the feeling of this and the feeling of that. Your emotional management of your day is how you can feel the vibe of anything. But the problem is that you have not had the proper setup. You haven't had the proper boundaries to make sure the unwanted waves don't rush in. You haven't really thought about the volume. you haven't really realized that you can actually set the limits to all of it. That's because you felt victim to your feelings. You felt victim to your feelings because you weren't taught how to respond to them and be there for them. Most Aquariuses have like very rock solid, steady kind of parents that don't really teach them emotion, but also don't get in the way. It gives them the ability to sort of sit on a perch of their hand and fly out like a butterfly. But the truth of the matter is it means that you have very little emotional coping skills. You don't know how to make the baby feel better after it has gas. Okay? I'm thinking about toddler here. So this week, and your emotional maturity comes down to how you emotionally cope with the moment. It's the moment you can't cope with. It's the feelings of how you feel when they talk about you, or they feel when they look at you. It's not that they're looking at you, it's that you're feeling that way. And it's not that you're feeling that way, it's that you're letting it happen again and again. And you're not doing anything different to yourself. So when you grab, by the handle or by the steering wheel, with both hands to steer your life to feel better, feel better, feel better, everything else will bloom in your life. Everything. It's the one thing holding you back. You're sort of like a plant in the desert that you never water. And you're wondering, why is it not giving me fruit? Because you're not giving it emotional attention and nurturing moment to moment. Now, this will turn into a superpower. Right now, we're just talking about take care of yourself. When Jupiter in Cancer 1 year from now comes out, you're going to realize that emotional acuteness with yourself allows you to read everything. And you're going to find that your psychic awareness has been blurred because your emotions have been blurred. So you have quite an interesting awakening. I mean, it's exciting for you guys going down this path. I'm watching you intently every step of the way. Now, the other aspect I want to talk about was Venus. When you're really caring for yourself and you're feeling good, now Venus in Gemini is going to allow you to open up to real things your heart wants. Your heart is saying, nah, or maybe not now, or I don't know, not because it's not the right idea, but because you don't feel good. So you don't feel good, why go outside to play? I don't know, it's going to feel lousy. So you're actually turning down a lot of potential for creativity, creative genius, romantic love, because you simply are afraid of what will happen and you won't know what to do when the feelings overwhelm you. So nurture those feelings and you'll find your personal dreams are on path and on point. Neptune retrograde means that the part of you that allows your mind to get overly heated up from grumpy, where you have this part of you that you can get really grumpy with yourself and you turn into a real grump with the world in all of your language. You sort of say things in like dramatic ways that makes everyone kind of step back. That's all because of 2 degrees of Aries, that your mind is not receiving information from you that is emotionally neutral. And so now that Neptune's retrograde, God Universe will not point this out to you. You must check in on your mind and make sure that it's not moody or cranky and that your feelings are in fact neutral. It's your job now with Neptune retrograde. All right. And Pisces. Pisces, your emotional nurturing comes down to your personal dreams. You are kind of a very sensitive person. You have a lot of spiritual information in you. You've had to relive so many past lives, which is difficult. It's not something I want to do. Spend a whole lifetime just reviewing all the times I screwed up. Doesn't seem like fun to me, so I understand. And what you probably don't understand yourself is that your inner child will never get there unless you encourage him or her. You need emotional encouragement to get your dreams to come true. You need emotional encouragement to remind you that you're cared for, that you don't judge yourself. You don't care how many times you screw up. You don't care how many years it takes. You love you. You'll be there for you, period. So you're reinforcing basically emotional abandonment issues you have because they come from, once upon a time someone abandoned you, but ever since then, when you get abandoned by someone else, you fall into a deeper abandonment of yourself. This is the classic Pisces, game. It's like they get hurt and they wander off into alcoholism, or they wander off into another state, or they wander off into some hobby, or they wall off from the world. And the truth is that you're going someplace you feel safer, but everywhere you go, there you are. So your soul, your chart says, hey, Pisces are here to have their dreams come true. They're here to be an example of serious joy, to be an expression of God's messages. And so if you don't take the time to nurture yourself and feel good, which means brush your teeth and take your vitamins, all these things that just add up to feeling good and feeling well cared for, your dreams will not manifest because it comes from passion that things happen. Now, the retrograde of Venus, however, is interesting. I mean, the Venus of Venus Gemini is interesting because, Jupiter in Gemini and the last month of the Sun in Gemini was showing you how your thoughts can disrupt your feelings or your thoughts can encourage your feelings. So this is a 2-team parenting for you. The inner mama needs to nurture your feelings and be there for you, and the inner daddy inside of you needs to be mindful of what idea is appropriate and what idea is not appropriate. And the idea that's inappropriate is because it disturbs the baby. It throws you off your center. Thinking that way doesn't allow things to happen that you want to have happen because your emotions get, kind of dumpy and frumpy. And then you don't feel like you can go after your dreams. And then you don't feel like you can go to work. So with Pisces, it's like, they say that you are a fish in a fishbowl. Well, you could say it's time to actually imagine the fishbowl. Does that fishbowl take care of you? Is the poop cleaned out regularly? Being mindful of all the details that go into feeling great is going to make you feel great and then have dreams come even faster. And the Neptune retrograde in Aries says that you must now check in on your self-worth. Neptune was reporting anytime your self-worth sort of slipped out of line, but now that Neptune is retrograde, it's up to you to check in with your inner feelings and whether you feel valued or not. By the way, to be valuable takes time and energy. If you put time and energy into yourself, you'll feel valuable. So if you do check in and your intuition says you feel worthless, well, the way to feel more worthy is to take some time and space just for you. Time and space of what your heart wants, time and space for feeling better. And when you feel good about yourself again, go back into the ring and give it a try. All right, friends, that's all we have for our soul horoscopes this week. And that's all we have for our show, Namaste Today. I'll be back in a week from now. It's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride. Make sure you are emotionally there for yourself. Make sure you're emotionally there for everyone in your family before you ever are there emotionally for something going on in the world. Recognize that there are people in the world who need to watch that the sky is falling and that things are collapsing. And those people have to go through that experience to understand what's real and what's not. It's not our job necessarily to save the world. It's our job to be there for ourselves. And if you put yourself first just this one time, I have a sense you'll have some amazing comments to put in next week's show in our blanks. So have a wonderful week, friends. I love you. Live, love, be.
Are you a practitioner looking to move your life's work into the spotlight? Do you have that special magic that makes you stand out? Serious Joy is now auditioning for its new Practitioner of the Week segment on Namaste Today. Sensei Christopher is looking to highlight qualified lightworkers with a promo short dedicated to raising awareness about your gifts. Interested? Contact Jenny at adintuitive.com to apply for an audition and get ready to shake what your spirit gave you.
What if marketing could be a spiritual practice? Not pressure, not perfection, just resonance. You're not stuck. You're just trying to channel a soul message through a Canva template or a strategy that is not built for your energy. I'm Lily, your creative freelance BFF. I guide mystics and multi-passionates from not yet to launch using human design and AI soulful systems. This isn't just theory. It's the process I've refined with 40+ clients and creative collaborators. I'm excited to share more with you at Unite the Night.
Did you know that discordant energies such as illness, trauma, violence, and depression can linger on a property for hundreds of years, going all the way back to the very beginning of that parcel of land? This can also happen with family heirlooms, antiques, or again previously owned furniture. If you've been feeling blocked in life, more ill than usual, or again just uncomfortable in your home, your space could be holding onto residual energies. Refresh My Property can help clear these energies remotely. Scan the QR code to get your free phone consultation today and begin clearing your space and your life.